Hey guys, this is Andrew with Boston Pro Scooter. Today I'm going to be reviewing a super popular model. You guys have all seen it. This is the Ninebot G30p. It's a classic scooter that you see all over the street, mainly because you can pick it up at so many department stores, Best Buy, Costco, etc. And it's, basically Ninebot's most popular scooter that we see in the shop and all over the streets of Boston. A little bit about it, it goes 19 miles an hour. They advertise about 40 miles of range. Realistically, you're going to get somewhere around 20. It's a 350 watt motor, and so it's a little bit stronger than your average starter scooters, but it's still not super strong. I mean, 350 watts is not a lot in terms of scooter world. There's a lot of like entry-level scooters that are in the 500 watt range. But anyway, you guys can read more about the specs online. Let's talk about what happens over the lifespan of the scooter over time. So the biggest thing that anyone that's ever worked on these before knows is about a year in, there's a scenario where the wires that connect the controller to the motor just start burning, and it becomes overpowered, and so you actually open it up and the wires are all melted, and the plastic adapters that connect the motor to the controller basically melts as well. And what commonly happens is that the scooter no longer is able to transmit the signal from the controller to the motor, and so the motor stops working. Huh?
That one doesn't apply to that.
What do you mean?
Because those are the ring terminals that screw into it.
Ah, that's a good addition. So Gabe just brought up a great point. So the old models on the G30p, super common. I mean, this happened on basically every single scooter. People would come in, they would bring these models in, and it would turn on, but the motor wouldn't run, and you would feel this like vibration, kind of like almost like it's hard to explain, but it would be like this like kind of rigid turn of the rear motor. And then every time you open it up on the bottom, and you just see the motor wires totally melted. And so what they've noticed, and this is kind of a new adaptation to Ninebot. It really took them a while to kind of catch on. It's a shame they didn't do it earlier, but they changed the adapters so that now there's a ring terminal, so that the power going through doesn't burn and melt the wires like it used to. So that's good. But for anyone looking at a used one of these, it's bound to happen. That was probably the most common issue that we would see. The controllers on these are relatively cheap, maybe $70 or $80. They do have imitation ones that are like 40 or 50 bucks. So if you need to switch them out, it's not terribly expensive. It's really easy to get to the controller on these models. All you have to do is take out all the screws on the bottom. This pops right out, and you've got instant access to the controller. It's a piece of cake. It's really easy to access the components on these. Changing the tires on these guys. So these are tubeless tires. They're not tube tires. And so it can be a little bit difficult for novices to change the tires on these, because essentially what you have to do is you have to take off the rim, and you get a tube, like a tubeless tire, and you've got to put it back on. Now the problem is a lot of people don't know how to get it to sit on the bead the way a car tire goes, and so that can be challenging for people. And so unlike tube type tires, which are a little bit easier because all you have to do is put in a tube and inflate it and you're good to go, with these tubeless tires, oftentimes you finally get the tire on with a lot of exertion. It takes you a lot of effort, and then you just can't get it to sit on the bead, and usually you have to take it to like a bike shop or a mechanic shop, or if you're lucky to have a scooter shop in your city. That way you can actually get it to sit on the bead. So changing the tires on these is a little bit tough. They'll advertise self-healing tires, but like all models that do, they're not foolproof. We get tires that come in all the time that are self-healing that still get punctured, because if it's a large enough puncture, the rubber on the inside isn't enough to seal that hole, and so you can definitely still get flat tires on these. So we talked about the controller, access to it, the tires, the motor, the wattage. We really don't see a lot of dashboard issues on these models. For the most part, it seems like the top electronics tend to do pretty well. It was more so the main controllers that would go bad because of that previously mentioned melted issue. But now that they fixed it, time will tell if it creates new problems. But for the time being, it seems like they might have actually fixed it and created a really outstanding scooter from a repair perspective and from a longevity perspective, because otherwise these things would probably last very, very long. They discontinued it briefly, but now they've got a new model. So you've got this to compare to the G2 Max, which is the newer version with the suspension. These don't have suspension. They're still decently comfortable to ride, but obviously suspension's nicer but heavier. So that's something to compare to, and we'll show that off in a future video. That's it for this scooter. Overall, very common, well-built scooter, easy to service, and now that they fixed that common melted wire issue, we should continue to expect really good things out of the Ninebot G30 Max. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.